This is how to put together and operate a Resonant Light PERL Rife machine. It's going to come like this. The tube is going to be separate. First take the tube, insert it like this. Don't want to press too hard, but it does have to be seated. And there's a pretty positive stop there. And you'll know once it's turned on whether it's seated properly or not. Then we will plug this in. This has an RF bead on it, sometimes known as an RF choke, which prevents interference coming from the Rife device into the electrical lines. This must be pressed in well, firmly seated. It even has a note to that effect on the back. You don't want any sparks jumping there. Plug it into a grounded outlet. Take the ProGen. The ProGen transmits its signal through this cable, which is a modified CB microphone cable, and it's also been modified to provide power to the ProGen. Don't try to use any run-of-the-mill CB microphone plug for this, because this one is special because it does provide power. And that plugs in here. It is keyed, so it can only go in one way. Make sure the little outer ring is firmly seated. And now we're pretty much ready to run. First thing we do is power the device. It's not going to light the tube. There's the button on the bottom is for power. The button on top is for ignition, to light the tube. I usually prefer to light the tube once the ProGen program is already running. Turn this on. We'll provide power to the ProGen. As you can see, there are 5 choices. Enter 1 through 5. Run bank, program bank, manual entry, erase bank, and transfer. 90% of the time you're going to just worry about running a bank. So we're going to hit 1 and select bank. And you should have a list. Pass me that. What programs are pre-programmed into the ProGen. Now any of these can be overwritten. And here it shows the waveform, the base frequency, and various other parameters that are used for each step of that bank or program in the ProGen. It can hold up to 40. This one came from the factory programmed with 25. And it holds a maximum of 40 programs. I put additional ones in there and use the same format to make it easier. And this is a list of 34 through 40, and I highly recommend doing it in this format, because when you're entering the data in the program mode, you'll want it laid out like this to make it easy to program so you don't get confused. Anyway, we are going to pretend we want to run bank number 1. So we already hit the run bank command. Now it's saying select bank number. So we're going to hit 1 and hit the pound sign to enter. And you can run whichever steps you want in here. Typically you'll want to run all of them. Levels, this is bank 34 in this case. You'll want to run the complete bank. So in this case, you will just keep hitting this additional bank. It gives you the capability to append another bank to there. So in case you wanted to run, say, set number 34, then set number 35, you could do that. Typically, you're not going to do that, so we'll just say no. Beep when done. Okay, yeah, we'll let it beep. It'll just go beep at the end of running this hour-long set. And so now it is running. You can see it is at 10,000 hertz, and there is 1 minute 52 seconds left, and it's running a square wave positive single frequency, and this is bank number 1, level 1. Now once it gets times out to that, it'll start running level 2, which will be the next frequency in line. And we can see what that is by looking in the book here. Next frequency in line will be 6,000. So anyway, after 1 minute 22 seconds, it's going to change to 6,000. 10,000 is good. One reason that these typically start on the highest frequency in the set is because the tube lights the easiest when it is at a high frequency, something 2,000 or above. Anyway, time to start the ignition. I would have normally done this soon after starting the ProGen run, but since I was explaining things, it doesn't really matter what. Start the ignition switch right here. We can see the frequency going here, and what it's actually doing is it's when you're programming function generators for Rife machines, you typically want a gated frequency. This means it pulses at 1 per second frequency in addition to, in this case, the 10,000 hertz it's running. Pulsing is thought to make the device more effective. So that's it. It is running. In case it came up and the bulb did not light immediately, typically it might take 3 to 10 seconds. But if it doesn't and you're impatient, you can just run your finger along it like this, and a lot of times the static will give it a kick. Now if there was a really hard to start tube you can always get one of those piezoelectric gas grill starters. Give it a little click and it'll almost always start it. It's changed to 6,000 and it counted down the 2-minute cycle on that 10,000 frequency, and now it's on 6,000. As you can see, it's counting down until it gets to the next frequency, which we could look in the book, would be 5,000 hertz next. Anyway, that's it. It's all it takes to run this. The hard part about this is programming the ProGen, and even that is not hard, it's just tedious. And in the next video, I'll show you how to do that. Thanks for watching.